Screen and we'll get started. Is my screen visible? You guys can put it in the chat, whatever questions you have or any problems with the screen share, my audio. Okay? Just be responsive, guys. Like, I know even I have been in your place. I know you don't feel like talking and all, but yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I have prepared a small presentation as well. I know you guys don't like presentation, but still, just to have something. Okay, so today I'll be talking about front end development and UI UX design. So these two things is what I am expert. I won't say expert, but I'm well versed in. In like last 3 years, I've been working. Like since second year itself, I got an internship and I was working in this field. So front end and design. So people don't think that designers can code or developers can design, but in my case it has been both of the things. I have been developing as well as designing simultaneously, and in my work as well I do both of these things. So this kind of puts me in a very unique position where I get to like dictate some of the decisions that the product has to like, some product decisions that I have to make, and also have to think about how to develop it as well. So when you think about from the both sides of the perspective, then you get a really unique opinion as well when you talk with your developers, when you talk with your seniors or managers. Okay, let's get started. Yeah. Okay, so first let's talk about front-end development. Basically, I am pretty sure you guys, everyone knows HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and all those things, right? These are very basics. I think these are also covered in our curriculum. In the third year itself, I think you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I think you guys know what it is, but you might not know how to get a job in web development or front end development, right? So for that I will be talking about what else you can learn or how you can really get into this field, because just knowing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript won't land you a job or an internship. Okay, so you need to know some different things, some other things, some things that will put you on that path, right? So firstly, after learning JavaScript, you need to you need to be well versed with one of the frameworks, that is React or Angular, right? So React, I think it's all React and Angular will also be covered in your curriculum, but it's very basic level. But there are other courses, there are other YouTube courses as well where you can really get into it. And then after you learn these frameworks, you need to know how to really develop these UI. So what usually happens in my company is basically designers will design a UI. There will be some iterations on the UI, and then later on, the front end guys will pick it up. They'll look at the Figma designs or whatever, and then they'll start planning about how to really develop this. So because in companies, right, you don't develop it directly, you need to plan your development, you need to make components so that all these things are really scalable. Because if something changes in the design in later stage of the product, then you don't need to completely go back to your development. You don't need to completely change your code, right? So yeah, that is about scalable development, right? So to do that, I have like, if you guys are not, if you don't know what React is, or if you just know the basics, right? So I have some links to some very good courses on YouTube. It's completely free, you guys can just check it out. I'll put it in the chat box, and we can just like, you can just go through those courses and you'll get a pretty good idea, and you can start doing your projects and all on that as well. Okay. Any questions on front end development? Anything related to my job as well is fine. Like what I do in front end development and how the process is. You can just put it in the chat box, or just unmute yourself and let me know. Anything, guys, you can ask anything related to front end dev or whatever, how to get a job or whatever in that, or I can move ahead in the presentation. I guess nobody is. Oh, yeah. Share your experience in your organization and share how you get internship. Okay, so basically, in my company is a fintech company basically. So what we do is we are a payment orchestrator and a payment aggregator. I won't get into those terms because those are very complex terms. But yeah, so what we basically have, we have a SaaS platform as well. So in that, what I really work on is on designing these new features as well as developing, and then also I act as a bridge between the developers and the designers and communicate and hand those designs and get those designs developed, right? And the next part of the question would be like how you got an internship, right? So when I was working, so in my second, no, in my first year itself, I was working as a web development intern at a small company in Pune. And later, then I saw a LinkedIn post that these guys are looking for some UI developers, right? JusPay folks were looking for some UI developers. It was my second or third year, I guess. But like when I joined, so firstly they had a LinkedIn post. I applied through that. Then there was a like 4 round of process, like a 4 round interview process. In the first round, I had to do an assignment. In the second round, it was like discussing my assignment, whatever I did. So the assignment was basically they gave me a design and I had to replicate that design, and also there were some features that I had to replicate. So I did that, and on top of that, then I had a tech interview, like basically just my JavaScript, my React, and all those smaller things were there. And after that, it was a very small HR interview, and this entire process was just done in a couple of days. So I interviewed, and in like next 2 days, I was directly start. I had started working as well. So basically, I would like to say the thing is that you should be active on these social media platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter, right? Just put out your work over there, and you'll get a lot more opportunities than looking on these job platforms, right? So just put out your work on these platforms, and you'll be able to like you'll be able to grab these opportunities. Okay. Okay. Moving forward. Okay, so in front end, if you want to really get into this, I would just suggest कि पहले तो तुम्ही just build cool and unique projects. So I have seen a lot of guys making to-do lists on using React, and some very small projects like a game or something like a tic-tac-toe or something. So these projects are fine for learning, but these projects won't get you an internship or a job. You need to build something really cool, or at least really unique, something that nobody has done it, but something that is really something that you would like to show off. Okay, so that okay, I have built this, so that nobody else has built this, but I have built it. Something of your own, something that you are really proud of. So you need to build that. And the second tip that I would like to say is that use AI tools. It will make your life a lot easier. There have been some speculation that AI will replace developers and all that, but it might be true to some extent. But currently, it's not the case, or I would say in the next 5 to 10 years, it's not the case. But to really set yourself apart from your competitors or other folks, you need to be well versed with these AI tools. Like ChatGPT is fine, you know how to use ChatGPT, but there is something called GitHub Copilot as well. You need to know how to use that. There are a lot of other open source projects where you can really do you can do debugging, you can do testing, and all these AI tools will really help you and just make your process very faster, simpler, so that you can build a lot of different projects very quickly. Okay. Third point is basically put out your work. It really, like, whatever you build, even it's a small thing, it's a small game or whatever, just put it out on, I would say, just get on Twitter for now. Twitter is very, like, people think that Twitter is just basically political stuff and all those things, but it's really not that. It depends on who you really follow. So if you really follow these, some industry leaders, some really cool guys, so these guys will really put out their work, they'll explain you, you can ask them questions over there, literally. If you know Sam Altman, right? Sam Altman has AMAs on his Twitter, so people like you and me, we ask questions, he replies to you, you can really learn from what their experience, right? So there are a lot of cool people on Twitter, so I would say get on to that. There is GitHub, put out your work on GitHub, it is really important. Whatever projects you build, don't just keep it in your laptops, put it out, share it, however bad it is, just share it. I would say write blogs as well. If you know something about some, even if you know one thing about some thing that you've built, like let it be a small web dev projects or anything, that is, just put it out. It just adds to your personality. That okay, you are not just someone like a basic person. You know there is a lot of aspects to your personality, so you can just put out something, I would say. Okay, and also participate in these hackathons that the college also organizes. Then there are different universities that have their hackathons, different colleges. Then there are tech conferences. I don't know how many tech conferences happen in Pune, but in Bangalore and all, you'll have a tech conference every other weekend. So currently I'm staying in Bangalore, so here I see like every other week there is something, or something related to tech or something related to design going on. So if you have the means, or if you have the opportunity to come visit Bangalore for a tech conference, I would say really go for it. And then these, in my first year, I went to IIT Bombay. They had this tech fest. So over there, I met a lot of different people, and it's a different experience, I would say. Just put out your work, meet different people, and that is where you'll get your opportunities, right? In from college, let's say you grab a job from the placements, but after that, college won't help. You have to build your connections, you have to meet new people, you have to put out your work. Okay, so yeah. Any questions about any of these points or anything else, you can just put it. I guess no questions, but yeah. Okay, cool. Now we had a talk about front end development. Now let's get into UI UX design. Okay, so UI UX design. I'll just tell you my journey, like how I got into this. So when I was in my first or second year, we have this IST, ACM, and all those things, right? So in there, I use firstly we you need to design posters, you need to design all the marketing material, logo, and this that. So I started from that, basically, that to design a poster for there was this ACM event for with a YouTubers or something, and then I designed a poster for that. Everyone really liked it, even I enjoyed the process of doing that. And later on, then I got to know there is a completely different field that is dedicated to designing uh, creatives, designing products, designing UIs. Okay, and it's a very, firstly I used to think that okay, it's just a creative job, just colors and rectangles moving around here and there. But when I really got into it, I really understood that it is actually very difficult, I would say, to some extent difficult and developing as well, because you really have to think, you have to think very hard. If you don't like thinking, product design or UI UX design is not for you. You have to really go to the base of the problem, talk with people, get out what really is bugging them, and then build something for them. So this field is very vast, and I would say it's not going anywhere in the next 10-15 years. So if you really are interested in designing experiences for people, you should really get into this, basically. Okay. uh, how do you really get into product design or UI UX design, right? So I would say, uh, in design, right, you need to have that sense of what is good and what is bad. Okay, so whenever, let's say, let's take an example of an Apple product, right? Any, like, let's say an iPhone, basically. Whenever you look at the iPhone, you know it's well designed, because it really shows it's well designed. It doesn't have any fancy things, it doesn't have fancy colors. It's just very simple to use, very easy to navigate, easy to use. All these features, they don't have crazy features like Android has, right? But still, it's still a market leader. It is because it's very simple, it's easy to use, and it is good. Like, in that sense, it is a good design, right? Then there is a bad design as well. If you've seen some of these old Microsoft Micromax phones or Carbon phones, right? So you really get that, okay, this is not this is not it, this is not usable, right? Or you might have come across websites, right? So some of the websites you would have really found, okay, this is really easy to use, or this is really well designed, right? And then you just come across a very badly designed website, or a bad experience on a website, then you just, the entire feeling just changes, right? So what is really design is user experience, or UI design is what the user will have an experience when they are interacting with your product, right? So that is how you need to build a good versus bad wala thing. Is basically, you need to judge, or you should have that sense of, okay, this is good and this is bad. This only comes when you've practiced a lot, and when you've looked at work of other people. Like, let's say some, so I don't know how many of you guys have used Cred, but Cred is this. You might have seen these ads, but I would really recommend you guys go and download Cred. Okay, Cred really has this unique design which has not been used by any other fin. So whenever you think of fintech, right, you think of banks and these very bad websites of banks and all these things. But Cred has really upped the game and for everyone. So if you just check out their app, you'll understand what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. And so firstly, build that sense, good versus bad. How to build that sense is basically look at other people's work. Look, go on Dribble, go on Pinterest, go on Behance. So these are some of the websites where you can check out work done by other people, what is good, what is bad. You'll get an understanding of how to really judge these things as well. Okay. Next step I would say is imitate, basically. Yeah. Imitate means, simple words, copy. Copy other people's work. Yeah, I'm saying it. Just go to, like, whatever, let's say you like Twitter ka design, or let's say you like uh, credit card design, for an example. Just imitate that design. Let's see how, if you can build it, see if you can design it in Figma or whatever software you're using, right? I would say, I would recommend use Figma only. It's very easy to use. Okay. Imitating is basically copying everything, small, even to the smallest of the small details. See if you can build it, see if you can really make that. And after you've done copying that work, now really see what is good about this work that you're copying, right? So okay, let's say, let's take this example itself, right? I'm using this online tool called Pitch. So how this button is, how this share button is, how the icons are, okay, why these icons, right? So you'll kind of build that sense of what really works and what doesn't work, right? So that is basically why imitation is important. Okay, there is this book, like, of, I don't know the name of the author, but the book is called Steal Like an Artist. Okay, if you get your hand on that book, I would say, really read that book. It's a very nice book, and how to really imitate, or how to really understand what something is. Okay. Yeah, then third is developing a sense of design. Yeah, that really is basically good versus bad design. What looks good, what looks bad, and not just the looks, but what works really well and what works in a mediocre way. So that sense you won't get it from the day one itself. You'll build that sense after you've talked, if you've interacted with a lot of people, you've interacted with your stakeholders, you understand your company's business policies or what the company really wants to do. Okay. So that sense really takes time to build, but I would say start as soon as possible if you really want to get into this. I would say if you're slightly inclined towards design, I would say please go ahead and explore. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of different fields. There's graphic design, visual design, motion design. Then there is copywriting. Yes, copywriting is also comes under design. UX research, and there's a lot of different fields. Just get into it, start small, don't get overwhelmed by different things. There are really big people out there, but you can start small. And I would say design is easy to pick up, easy to understand, easy to learn, but it is really difficult once you get into the field to really create something new. Okay, creating something new, creating something from scratch is difficult because you need to do something that has never been done before. Whereas in code, you can always check out on Stack Overflow or do something else and do that. And then you can just uh, mix and match things and build something. But in design, you cannot do that. You have to build it yourself, build it from scratch. Yes, you can take inspirations from other designers, but at the end, whatever product or whatever uh, UI you are designing, right? It needs to have its own. It needs to have its own voice. It needs to have its own brand. Okay. Fourth is basically after you've done all this, you need to learn the tools. Figma is, I would say, I'll send you a course to learn Figma as well. So it's really easy to use. I won't. It will barely take you like an hour or two to get around the tool, get to know what all different features it has, how to do this, how to do that. You'll get to learn that. So tool is not the problem. You will learn the tool very quickly, but really building something that is useful and something that looks good is the difficult part. I would say just learn the tool and then start imitating. Okay. And fifth is the most difficult part in this job, that is problem solving and creative thinking. Problem solving doesn't mean the development wala problem solving. Here the problems are real. Here the problems here the problems really affect a lot of people. So I would give you an example in my company itself. So we have this product called a studio, right? Studio, like a payment based studio. So what the studio does is it allows merchants as in e-commerce website folks to build their own payment pages, right? So to design those payment pages, we've built a tool. So in that tool, we have, like, when I was designing that tool, I had to speak with like 10 to 15 of the merchants, understand what they want. And firstly, I used to think, okay, payments is a big thing for them. But when I really had a chat with them, payments is just a basic, just an aspect to them for the business, right? So they want to do it quickly, they don't want to spend a lot of time. So I took all this feedback, spoke with a couple of other folks, and then we built a really simple tool, really useful tool. And that tool really worked well for the company. And everything, like, merchants used to come, they used to design their payment pages in like 15-20 minutes, and they used to start using them right away, right? So problem solving is talking to people, understanding what they really want, and then translating all that feedback. Yeah, translating all that feedback into some actionable items, and then putting it out on the screen, right? And creative thinking is also a big part of this, that you need to sometimes really think out of the box. You need to solve for things that haven't been solved for. Okay, so there's a lot of things to do in this. Once you get into it, you'll understand it completely. So yeah, any questions in this? Okay. I've often seen designers create really fancy designs which are too appealing to users, but then developers struggle implementing these designs. So according to you, are such designs are considered as good or bad designs? Yeah, this is a I wouldn't say a problem, but this is something that really happens. Is basically designers really go crazy and they build something very difficult to implement as well for the developers. But designers also need to keep something in mind. So whenever you are designing something, right? So let's say I'm designing something for, let's take college example. Let's say I'm designing MMCOE's website, right? So I cannot design MMCOE's website like some crazy, like something like cred or something. I cannot add those kind of animations, those kind of illustrations, or those kind of transitions, right? Because MMC is a educational institute. It's a workplace. It's a professional environment, right? Or educational environment, sorry. So you need to have that sense for, like, what are you really designing for. So if you are designing for a college, let's say, then you have to keep your things simple, keep the style simple, keep the theme simple, keep the font simple. Okay, now let's say you're designing for uh, a music festival ka website. Okay, over there you can go crazy because that is the need, right? So if you see a music festival ka website, something like a bank website, you won't really attend that music festival, right? So you need to understand what you're designing for, but you need to have that context in mind when you're designing. Okay, so designing is also about getting, like, it's not about fancy things as well, right? It's about simple things. It's not about fancy things. Simple things that solve bigger problems. Okay, major problems are solved by very very simple things. You need to build that understanding of where to use your designs and how to design for different use cases. Okay, so yeah, answering for your question, if someone is designing a really fancy website which is not really needed for that business or that environment, then yeah, it's a bad design in my sense. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Very small questions also. You can ask anything. You can ask about me, about my job, anything. It's really fine. And learning React, JS, etc. Personally, I feel very difficult. Don't know why, but other side, these things are very important in development. How to deal with it, how to learn these small things perfectly. So Rohan, I would say, कि starting में ना, when you're learning, don't look for perfection. As I'll say, don't look for perfection. Just build something that is usable. Just something that works. Okay, for now. Like for example, when you write some code, in the first go itself, your code is not optimized, right? There are a lot of bugs. There are a lot of things that can go wrong, but building something usable is important. I know it is very difficult. It might get daunting at some point, right? It there's a lot of different things that you need to learn, but I would say start small. Start very 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 small. Take very small first step. Okay, I'll share you the a link of a really good course that I myself followed. Okay, so that is a YouTuber only. There are like 15 videos, and he explains everything very simply. And just follow follow that course for now. But don't look for perfection. Start small, and if you feel that it is difficult, it's getting difficult, then you have AI. You can ask any kind of questions. You can ask it to explain it to you in very 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 simple terms. You can just, there's a lot of learning tools available out there. So even if it gets difficult, you can really tackle this by just learning and just getting more knowledge about that thing. Okay, cool. Anything else, guys? Any questions? Also, do front-end frameworks like Bootstrap and Tailwind have any relevance in the industry? If no, why? And if yes, which one is better, Bootstrap or Tailwind? Of course, they are relevant. In my own company, we use Tailwind, uh, and these things make your life a lot easier when you're developing for front-end development, right? And if which one is better, I would say currently Tailwind is better. Bootstrap is a bit outdated, but it's still there. People use it. Tailwind is very easy to use, easy to pick up. Bootstrap the same. So I would say currently, if you want to learn something, then I would say go into Tailwind. And for the people who don't know what Tailwind and Bootstrap is, so these are basically UI frameworks so that it just makes you it just makes it easier to write CSS and also to some aspect HTML as well. Okay. Okay, JusPay, Stripe, Razorpay, are they providing the same services or how are they different from each other? Just now, Google, what is the difference between payment gateway and an aggregator? Okay, this is a kind of okay. Okay, I'll answer this question. Okay, I'll explain you these terms very simply. Okay, so a payment gateway, you might know what you have heard about payment gateways, right? So Razorpay is a payment gateway, right? What does a payment gateway do? So what payment gateways do is basically, let's say you go to Amazon, you put in an order. So now that order goes to a payment gateway. You pay, that money goes to the payment gateway. Payment gateway goes to the bank. They ask them, okay, these are the things. This is the merchant, this is the customer. Is everything okay? If everything is okay, we'll transfer it. Then the bank says yes, transfer it. Then they transfer it. Okay, this is the job of the payment gateway. Now I'll tell you what JustPay does. So we are basically a payment aggregator as well as a payment orchestrator. So what a payment aggregator does is basically, now payment gateway does one thing, right? It takes it, goes to the bank and gives it back. Okay. What payment gateway does is payment gateway takes now payment aggregator does is they take thousands and 20, like in millions, they'll take these transactions and they'll go to different banks in one go and they'll get it. So they'll, what aggregator means is basically collecting different things and doing it in one thing, in one go. Okay, so that is what a payment aggregator does. It takes all these different orders, packages it, takes it to the bank, gets it approved, and then clears it in one go. Okay. Now I'll explain what a payment orchestrator does. So now let's say you are a merchant, sorry, you are a person who wants to open a t-shirt store, let's say e-commerce t-shirt store, right? So now you cannot rely, like now you have like crores of orders going through your platform every day, e-commerce website every day. Now you cannot rely on one particular payment gateway, because let's say one payment gateway goes down, your entire payments stops. Nobody can pay you, you cannot take payments, right? So to avoid this situation, what a lot of merchants do is they basically connect with different payment gateways. They'll connect with 10 payment gateways and then they'll route these payments across different gateways. Okay, so this is what JustPay does. We allow you to route payments to different gateways. So there is Razorpay, there is PayU, there is Paytm and all those things, Stripe, right? So we'll help you route payments to these different gateways so that you're not dependent on any one, and your payments won't stop ever. Like even if two of them go down, rest eight will cover up for them. Okay. This is very basic understanding. Like it's very complex, but I just gave you a gist of it so that you could, if you're really interested, you can check it out on Google, ChatGPT, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Yeah. So let's get into the getting a job and an internship. Okay. So now you are in third year. So I think now you guys need to get an internship for this semester, and how to really get an internship. Hmm. It's a big question even I faced. But yeah, it's very simple actually, you just need to be out there and put out work. Like just put out work on LinkedIn, put out work on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, or create an account, put on Twitter, put on LinkedIn, apply to hundreds and hundreds of these companies. Okay, just apply, because currently you have no experience. There is no incentive for any company to onboard you and let you work and also pay you on top of that. Okay, so I would say just build, firstly learn something, build something out of it, build projects. A couple of good projects will do the trick. I will say just build those projects. Now then start messaging these companies that, okay, this is what I am, this is what I can do, this is what I have learned till now, and I can do anything for you. I can learn anything. I'm open to learning. So just send out these messages to emails to these companies or people working at these companies. You are a student right now, and currently I would say, out of 100 folks, maybe 10 of them would open your message, or even two of them would reply. But you just need one good reply, one positive reply to get an internship. It's a hassle, it is a bit tricky sometimes, but once you get it, like I will say, you will be on a very good path, right? And now one thing I would like to say is to avoid is, there are these scams running around out there, that they'll charge you 3 to 4 thousand, and they'll give you an internship certificate. I'm telling you, these things are a scam. Don't fall into this. It doesn't mean, yeah, they'll give you an certificate to show the college. Yeah, they'll give you everything for that, but it is really useless. If I see someone who has an internship at such as these scammy things, right, I won't hire that guy. Okay. Currently, like in my company itself, I do resume shortlisting for some jobs, and sometimes I also take interviews of some designers, right? So if I see some of these scammy things, right, it is a very big red flag for me, that okay, this guy could not get an internship, so he had to himself pay 4 to 5 thousand rupees and get a certificate. So this is really bad. Please don't fall into these traps. I would say, if you don't get an internship, try harder until you get something. Even if it is not in your domain, do it. Because when I first started, my first internship was a content writer, okay, technical content writer. I wanted to get a web development internship, I couldn't get it. I did technical writing for some time, for a couple of months, and then I moved to web development in that same company. Okay. So I would say, get an internship, but don't fall into these traps. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, guys, about getting a job or internship? I would like, and I'll go ahead in the presentation, then you can ask me questions. Okay. Okay. So to get a job or internship, firstly you need to have very clean fundamentals. Whatever you're doing, development, design, whatever, if you want to get in backend development as well, right, you need to have your fundamentals really ironed out. You should know these fundamental things very clearly. Like, you cannot fumble into that. Okay. You need to have a confidence, like, is basically speaking. Okay. When you're speaking, even if you don't know something, you should be able to really speak with confidence, with determined voice. That thing is really there. Even I'm working on it. If you see me fumbling, that is because I'm learning still. So you need to have that confidence when you're speaking with someone, or whenever you're even writing a mail, right? Writing a mail with confidence is also a thing, or writing a message with confidence is a thing. When you're speaking in interviews, right, there is that thing. So firstly, clean your fundamentals. Secondly, build that confidence. कैसे बनेगा ये confidence is basically speaking to people, speaking at these, like having these sessions, speaking in a public place, going out there, going to these conferences, meeting new people, speaking with them. Okay. Going to these hackathons, speaking with the judges, and everything basically. So that builds your confidence. And confidence tabhi aayega when you have something, like you know something. अगर कुछ आता ही नहीं है तो क्या करेंगे कॉन्फिडेंस का, राइट? सो you should know something, and then you need to build confidence on top of it. Okay. Have really high quality projects. Don't make to-do list and those things. It's okay for learning, but if you really want to show something on your resume, really build something high quality. Okay. Whatever it is, your portfolio for UI UX design, or your website for your uh, front end development, or a completely full stack project, whatever it is, just make it high quality. Don't keep it sub minimal level. Okay. Don't keep it mediocre. Try harder. Give like 2 3 months of your time into one project, but make it good. Okay. Become t-shaped. Okay. What is t-shaped is basically, You should know a lot of things, but you should be expert in one of them. So that is what T-shaped really looks like. So you know a lot of things, and then you know a lot of things. You know something. You know about one thing that is very deep. You know something about, like, for example, let's say, I know about development. I know about design. I know about back-end development, but I really know a lot about design. So that is my deep T. Okay, so become T-shaped. You should have an And the fifth point is, you should have something exciting about yourself. You cannot be mediocre. You cannot just be, okay, मैंने DSA का course किया, I have this and hire me. People might hire you, but you won't have that factor or something that sets you apart from other folks, right? How do you build this? Extracurricular activities, going doing all these other things. You should be able to set yourself up, but you should have something to add to your personality other than just what you're doing professionally. Like, if I just talk about design whole day, you'll get bored. But you should know different things about, like, different there are a lot of different things in the world. You should know about them. You should have your experiences. You should be able to talk about those things, even in a professional environment, right? You should show that, okay, you are different from the stack. You're not uh, you're not just a normal person. You are eager to learn. That factor, you need to find it in yourself only. You'll not find it out there. You'll not find it on Instagram or whatever. You need to know yourself really well to find that thing about yourself. Okay. And then sixth is personality. Personality is there. Everyone has a personality, but having a really good presentable personality is something. Dress well, talk well, uh, don't talk about rubbish things. Consume better content than whatever you see on reels and Instagram and all those things, right? That really adds to your personality. So whenever you, let's say, even when you're with your friends, right, when you're talking with in your group itself, if you have really something that is adding to the conversation, then that is a good thing. But if you are just talking about some bullshit normal things, then it's not really adding anything. Okay, so build that personality. Talk nicely, talk slowly, don't rush, don't fumble, even in your interviews. Okay. So yeah, you might think, okay, ये तो बोल रहा है, ये सब अच्छे से बात करो, ये सब ये खुद बात नहीं कर रहा है. So I'm still learning. I'm just 1 year elder to you guys. Okay. I'm still learning. You guys are still learning. I'm just telling you 1 year later का experience. That's all. Okay. I'm just your friend, not some Mr. Sir, whatever. I'm your friend. You can connect with me anytime you want. It's not a problem. Okay. Any questions on this? uh, कुछ भी होगा, you can just ask me anything. Like, just put it out there, or you can unmute yourself and just talk. I would like to have a chat with you guys. Anything? Any questions? Ask me about anything. मेरा salary पूछ लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Ask anything. Just talk. Nothing. Mm. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Everyone come up with one question at least. I want to talk, यार. मेरे को बात करना है तुम लोग से. So just talk. I want to really understand what you are facing, because if I was in your shoes a year back. Even I had a lot of questions I asked them. I wish you guys asked some. Uh, कुछ भी पूछ लो. Ask anything about how is Bangalore, how is the ecosystem here. How did you balance between practicing DSA and development? Yeah, that was a problem for me in the beginning, because firstly, I was doing DSA, but later then uh, this is not advice. Okay, I'm just telling my experience. It's like DSA is fine, DSA is good, but I knew what I wanted to get into. I knew I want to get into front end and product design. So I knew DSA won't really do good to me. So I just did basic DSA so that I could crack the interview. So that is all I have. And then I went completely into development. I used to build projects and all that. I would still recommend everyone to do DSA. At least do basic level of DSA so that you can crack the interviews at least. So that much though you should know. Any internship opportunity open in JustPay? Yes, we do have internship opportunities. We have product design opportunities, UI UX development, UI UX design internships available. If you are really interested, let me know. I'll put my number around here. Okay. Uh, just text me on WhatsApp. Okay, I'm just giving you my number. Don't like, I mean, yeah, share with people, but don't spam. Yeah, you can let me know if if you are really interested in these opportunities. Let me know. I'll hook you up with someone. What's the difference between students who get paid internship and just internship, like in terms of skills, portfolio, and experience? Yeah, so there are like from the beginning is what I'll say. In the beginning, it might get difficult to find a paid internship, but some of the students do get it. Like in terms of like how they get it, or why do these companies pays? Because they have really have something that the company really wants, and the company is really willing to pay for. So you guys need to think inwards. You need to think, ki, okay, do I have something that some other person will be willing to pay for? Okay, do I have that skill? Okay, if you think you have that skill, then you should not work for free, is what I'll say. Go for a paid internship. But if you have nothing really, if you don't have anything concrete to offer, but you are really eager to learn, you just want to learn something new, then it's fine. It's okay to do normal unpaid internships, because you are getting to learn over there. You'll talk with people, you'll be exposed to the industry. So I'll say it's fine. You can just choose any one of them. But if you really believe, okay, your skills should be paid and your skills are good enough, then go for paid internships. Any other questions, guys? Other folks, I I'm pretty sure some of them are just they have just joined and they're not even listening. But whoever is listening, please ask questions or just tell me how your experience about this session. Anything that could help me. Like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this professionally. I'm just learning as well. So any feedback would be great for me as well. Is React Native helpful? Yes, it's very helpful. You first need to know React and then you can move to React Native. So for the people who don't know what React Native is basically a framework for developing apps and cross-platform apps you can develop. So yeah, React Native is helpful. We use it in our company. Along with React Native, I would say Flutter is also a uh, good thing to learn if you are going to get into Android development. And if you really want to get into iOS development as well, I would say Swift is something that you should look into. It is really, really, really good. So Swift UI, and also there is a lack of Swift developers. So if you know Swift, you will be paid very good, is what I'll say. Data analyst in tech industry. Yeah, there it's kind of tricky right now because there are a lot of different tools for data analysis. So people don't really hire for data analysts. Like currently in my company, we do hire for data analysts, but they do something else because being in the payments industry, we cannot like we need to hire these people like data analysts. But yeah, there is scope, but I would say build some skill on top of data analysis as well. Like get into ML if you have, or get into data engineering. Data engineering is a big field. Data engineering is difficult. I would say if you are interested into that, then get into data engineering. AIML internship. Currently, we don't have any AIML internship, but we have this role at JusPay called a TPA, that is a technical product analyst, and a technical product analyst can do anything. They are hired for AIML things as well, but you need to have good development skill as well. Okay, so yeah. How bad is the recession? It's kind of, it's not as good, I will say. It is some mediocre only, but if you have skill, no, there is no recession for you. If you have skill, if you have good skills, there is no recession. You can get any job. I am seeing like every day on LinkedIn people are posting jobs. On Twitter people are looking for interesting people in design, in development, and not just design and development. If you guys are interested into VFX, video editing, all those things, there are jobs out there. So recession is for normal folks, but if you have that X factor, if you have that skill, there is no recession for you. Any questions, guys? Any feedback about my session? Good, bad, anything works? 1 minute to go for for the session to end. How do you mean consistency during learning a skill? Yeah, this is a difficult thing that a lot of people struggle with. Is basically uh, having that discipline, having that consistency when you're learning a thing. I would say when you're learning, right? Let's say you're learning a course, right? But just watching videos will bore you out. Okay, just watching what the person is doing will bore you out. What you need to really do is do it yourself as well. Do it like hands on. You need to start doing that, and it is difficult. It is all about discipline at the end. Ki how disciplined you are. Do you really want it bad enough? Like if you're learning, like when I was learning web development in my first year, second year, when COVID happened, so I was at home whole day. So at that time it was kind of easier for me to build that discipline or consistency. Right now I'll say it kind of difficult with all the disturbance you have, your phones and all those things. But just spend 1 hour very like, for example, let's say like, you are learning graphic design, or let's say web development for that matter. Just spend half an hour to 1 hour every day, whatever is the time, even if it's 12 in the night. Just spend half an hour or 1 hour in whatever you're learning. It's fine. It just keeps you going. Okay. I'm preparing for GATE. What's your opinion? You might have faced this question during engineering, BTech master's job, BTech job, master's job. Still not sure in what field to do masters in. I would say if you are going to do masters, right? So if you're going for that, if you're going out of India to US or UK, whatever. So over there, even over there, you need to find a really good university, because there are a lot of normal universities where you don't get to learn anything. You're just spending your money. Even I had that question, but I kind of knew from day one when I started working that learning is enough for me. But I might do an MBA. I don't know. It's kind of open, but yeah, if you really want to do masters because you want to learn, don't look it into is ki masters ke baad acha job milega. Don't do that. If you want to do masters, it should be because you really want to learn more in this field, whatever field you're doing. Okay, so it's fine whatever uh, path you choose. BTech master jobs is also fine. BTech job, master's job is also fine. Okay. Does cloud developer also require web development skills? Cloud developer, I would say it's not it's not it's day to day job, but it is good to have that knowledge. You should know at least basics of web development or any kind of development to get into a cloud developer. Okay, because in cloud, what you are doing is basically you are one layer above the development things. You are doing it on the cloud. You are doing it on AWS, Azure. Okay, but you should have that knowledge. So yeah, cloud engineering is there. It is really work. It is really booming, is what I'll say. Cloud engineers are paid very, very well. Cloud development and anything related to cloud currently is in boom. But only do it if you're interested in that. Don't do it for the sake of money, because after a while you'll get bored and you won't really enjoy that. Okay, so if you're interested, then do it. I would say it's very booming field. Even I thought about it, and I'll probably also do some cloud engineering thing. I know a bit of AWS, but yeah, it's a good field. How hard is preparing for entrance exam for masters while doing a job? it it is kind of difficult, but you should know your priority. Okay, if you're doing a job, it is your like it is a I would say ethical thing to do, is you give priority to your job as well, but it is very important that you should think about yourself as well. Okay, so I would say just prioritize what you want. I would say just do one thing at a time. If you're learning, if you're preparing for masters, and if your job is chill, then if you don't have a lot of things to do at your job, then you can just do entrance exam preparation for full time. So that is like you can manage, because you can manage your college and your personal life, then you can manage entrance exam preparation and a job. It's fine. Okay, any other questions or anything, guys? Thank you so much, Rohan. You guys can share your feedback in the link. And any questions, I've put my number up here. Okay. If you have any questions, you can just connect with me on WhatsApp or LinkedIn or wherever you find me. It's fine. Thank you so much, Harshvardhan. It was a pleasure.
Okay, Vishwajeet. I think the session was really good, and this much of interaction, I can see a lot of messages. I
Yeah.
don't even get so many messages, even if I ask students to post some messages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that itself gives you the feedback that the session
Sure.
was really.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me. And yeah,
It's
I
always
would
a
like,
pleasure,
yeah.
you know.
Sorry?
It's always a pleasure to have
Yeah.
you guys interacting with the student because that gives them good insights, and it
Yes,
helps
yes,
us
for
as well.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll be there in Pune soon. I will try to come to the college one day. We'll meet you guys.
One of the students during the lecture just messaged me, so can we have an offline session for Vishwajit? I said, let's ask
Sure,
him when
sure.
he comes.
We'll do that. We can do that. Sure,
Okay,
sure.
that will be great. So let me know when you come back, so
Sure,
we
sure,
can have
sure.
a session offline.
Yes, for sure. Cool. Okay, guys, thank you for having me. It was really great interacting with you. I'm really sorry if I fumbled or uh, you didn't understand, I didn't answer your question well, but you can always reach out to me. And I'm also learning, you are also learning. Let's help each other. So, yeah, happy holidays, happy new year, have fun, study, whatever. Thank you.
Ask them to also attend the lectures.
Yeah, attend the lectures. Sorry. Attend the lectures, as because it's important. You, because whatever is in the curriculum, right? When I was at your place, like when I was a student, I used to think, yeah, yes, sub, I can do it online as well. But to really have, like, when someone is teaching you, they know some nuances about that field that you might not find online, right? So it is really great to interact with someone who's been in the field. So like now Nikhil sir has been into data engineering and all those things. So you can, he's doing his PhD and all that. So you can go to him, ask questions whenever he's teaching, ask questions. So it's really, and I miss that because I personally missed a lot of my college years into COVID. So I would give anything to go back to college, sit in those rooms, learning something. Thank you. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Vishwajit. So, students, please fill in the feedback form, and also you post your roll numbers in the chat box for attendance.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you so
sir.
much, Vishwajeet. So let me know when you come back. We'll have another
Sure, sure.
session.
Yes. Sure, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.